Hey Teresa, how's it going?
Hey, Nate.
Decided to do another Nimble chat. The other day, you brought to my attention. You rewatched that movie Antz that I haven't seen since I don't even know years, like back when a kid. But it's interesting rewatching it now today, and so you thought the same thing. I'd say that's why you brought it to my attention, right?
Yeah, it definitely, like, as an adult watching it, gives you a completely different perspective because as a kid, you don't really see the symbolism and the language that they use is in any way powerful or something that's trying to even, I think, I mean, I feel like it definitely struck a chord in my subconscious when you hear the language that they use. Even the opening monologue when he talks, the main character, Z. And he
Hmm.
basically says, I feel unfulfilled. I'm working at this job that I don't care about. I have nothing to show for it. My creativity has been sucked out of me. My personality has been,
Hmm.
diminished. And I've basically been told to conform and to just be quiet, be a good worker, and that I'm insignificant. And, of course, the psychologist that he's talking to follows up with, yeah, you've had a breakthrough, you are insignificant. And, that's me watching that in your first 30 minutes or 30 seconds of video. You're like, all right, we're going somewhere with
No,
this
definitely.
movie. So, um,
That's what like I got hooked right back whenever that came on. Watching that right away, it's just like I was like exactly knew what you're talking about. That why I should even give it a shot again. And so went right into it. How it talked about even just fear and just how it modeled just like his life. Just talking about his parents needing to work all the time and just not being around enough. Just leading into all the different different social issues and just his current day mental issues. Like he said, how he was talking to a psychiatrist, and so it did just start with kind of like a bam that you didn't even recognize back in the day. So,
I mean, we could spend 7 minutes talking about that conversation alone because if you talk about how it is just literally cloaked in symbolism top to bottom, he says that he's from a family of 5,000, which obviously isn't applicable to us, but I'm sure, you're being one of five. And me having a
yeah.
sibling, he talks, like you said, his parents were constantly basically overstretched. Most of us feel like we don't have enough time to do the things we enjoy, and it's because we have to fill our lives doing things that aren't really fun and give us nothing, no personal satisfaction. So it was interesting. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah,
But
like no individualism.
yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but my boyfriend Greg, he's huge into the idea that the school system basically squashes the imagination of the child, and it really makes you try to. They take away any creativity you have as a kid in the school system, and that's what it is. They talk about, I personally experienced this. I'm sure you did too. You're obviously, a little forward thinking, and most people who are usually have issues with conforming, if you will. So, but yeah, our school systems are the same way, I would say. You know, most kids, they enter school, now every kid has ADD because they're unique or they're different or they think outside of the box. My favorite scene from Antz was when he was in the bar and they were all line dancing and he decided that he wanted to start dancing just completely different. And I thought that
Yeah. Hmm.
was I thought that was great, because it takes a leader to step outside of the box, and it takes someone with balls really to have the courage. So, but anywho,
No,
what was your
definitely.
favorite?
But one,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was just gonna ask you what your
No,
favorite
I was
part of
gonna
the
say one
movie
of the
was.
no one of the biggest. Oh, I don't know. I love. I mean, the beginning monologue. I would say honestly, just was like my just. I would say had been like just my top just scene in the movie, just because it was just so like captivating right in the beginning. But one major part though that I think that of the movie was the whole military presence and like just the control of the society too within the society, and that was kind of like the underlying issue. And so there was just kind of like a whole different ball game to get down to that when they grow up, and they switch
There's an
places with him and his friend Weaver.
there's an undertone too because when they take the military and you look at the military presence inside of the monarchy or inside of the relationship with the queen and the princess and that type of thing, it's interesting to see how influential even they write the military in a fictional story because we, I don't think, as a public, even know how heavily of a hand our military plays in everything in our lives, you know? But it was interesting to see that dynamic, to see the queen of the Antz, you know, really have to trust, you know, and give a lot of power to the military, which ultimately ended up being corrupt, which is not at all shocking. So, but yeah, it was interesting. Uh, I would also have to
Yeah,
say,
I mean, just
oh, I was just going to say my
oh,
favorite part was,
I was just like you.
go ahead.
No, go go.
I was just going to say my favorite part was also the utopia. Uh, because everyone is supposed to believe that it doesn't exist, and everyone's been told their whole lives,
Yeah,
oh, there's no such thing as utopia, it's impossible. But I thought that was interesting, is to think that there is a utopia and it is possible to find. So,
yeah. It's kind of like in a way he was on his like pursuit of happiness in that sense. Like he got out and like that was what he was going for, and so like out of this one society, he's the one that kind of like stood out above the rest of the worker ants, the military ants, and he just saw through it all and just saw how pointless and how meaningless everything was, and just decided to, go out and find. When he met that other ant and told him about Insectopia, he wanted to find Insectopia, and you know,
it really does just take someone with just a little bit of just a courageous spirit to go out and, I guess, forge the unknown. And that's what Z did, so.
exactly. And so, I mean, I just want to say I'd highly recommend that movie to anyone that's seen it in the past who just thought maybe it was a good movie or just something that was just another cartoon. It's has some meaning behind it. So give it a second watch and see what you think.
Yeah, it's got a great cast, too, so.